Hey guys, Coach Rich here, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you guys through one of my favorite back pieces that we have in the gym. This is our chest supported T-bar row. Now we all know that rows in their various forms are excellent back builders, but this is my favorite variation and I'm going to explain a little bit about why. But if you guys don't have access to this particular piece of equipment or a similar one, I want you to be able to watch this and take the principles that we discuss and apply them to what you do have and other elements of your training too. So T-bar rows are typically performed with a barbell and a handle affixed across it, hence T-bar row. So for those of you who are interested in bodybuilding, former Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates, who was known as the Shadow because of the sheer size of his back, largely attributed that size to doing bent over barbell rows. Now, they've sort of since trickled down in bodybuilding as somewhat of a staple back movement. So unfortunately, bent over barbell rows don't fit a lot of people's mechanics. I find it hard to get the alignment correct, particularly with the wrists and elbows, and you can find that it does place a lot of strain on the wrists with a conventional barbell. With our particular machine, that is pretty much negated with these rotating handles that we have here. What these do is they allow you to focus on contracting where you need to contract, but just letting your hands and your arm path go where it needs to go in order to create that contraction. One of the features that I love about this machine that is not unique to it, you'll find it on a lot of various back pieces in various gyms around the world, is the chest support. So this takes away the need for internal stability. So if we're performing a bent over barbell row, we need to create stability with our core, our spinal erectors, and our hip musculature. When we have a chest support, we can brace into it, create some downward pressure, and not have to worry about creating so much stability with our lower back and hips. So there are 3 different ways that you can use this chest supported T-bar row. One of them is as a whole back movement. So we're starting with our upper back and then shifting the tension towards our lats as we get into that shorter position. The other 2 ways are exclusively focusing on the upper back, so the traps, rhomboids, teres, and rear delts, or just solely focusing on the lats. So there are a couple of different scenarios where you would pick either one. So if you were doing a pull day or an upper body day, for example, and you needed to be more time efficient with your exercise selection, you could perform it as a whole body movement. But if your goal is maximum hypertrophy, then I much prefer to separate it and either focus on just the upper back or just the lats. So the main reasons why I prefer separating the movement into either an upper back or a lat movement if your goal is maximum hypertrophy is because if you're transferring the tension from your upper back to your lats, then you're missing out in either the shorten or lengthen position in either one. So if we're starting off overloading the lengthened position in the upper back, then retracting and switching to the lats, we're then missing out on that lengthened range of the lats, and we're also missing out on the short range for the upper back. Okay guys, so the first way I'm going to demonstrate this is doing it as a total back movement. So initiating with the upper back musculature, so retracting and pulling our traps back. We're going to be hitting traps, rhomboids, teres, and rear delt. Then, as we come back, we're going to then transfer and pull the tension onto the lats. As I mentioned earlier, this would be the way that you would perform this movement if you were doing it on a total body or upper body day, rather than a pull day or a back day for maximum hypertrophy. So going for maximum output and time efficiency. So the first thing is to line up your sternum with the top of the pad, coming down directly and creating that stability that we spoke about. So then gripping the handles, and the first part of the movement is retracting, squeezing the upper back musculature, and then pulling the elbows back and down, coming back out, allowing slight protraction, lengthening, not loosening, and squeezing back again. Okay guys, so the first of the two ways that I'm going to demonstrate how to do this for more targeted hypertrophy is for our upper back. So this time, as we retract, we're going to continue pulling back, letting our hands and arms go where they need to as we contract all of our upper back musculature. So as I mentioned before, we're going to be squeezing the traps, the rhomboids, the teres, and the rear delts, everything nice and tight together, getting as short as we possibly can before we then go lengthening out. Okay, so for the setup this time, we're gonna go slightly lower than we were before, so just above the sternum, getting a little bit higher on that pad, grabbing the handles, slightly protracted, then retracting and squeezing everything in the upper back together. And the last way that we're going to be demonstrating how to do this is focusing on the lats. So key to the setup here is moving the foot pad up a little bit higher. Instead of being on our sternums, we're going to be quite a bit higher this time. Reaching down, grabbing the handles, and bringing the elbows back and down. The other key takeaway here, as well as any other chest supported pulling exercise, is to actually use the chest support to brace into and create that stability. Like I said earlier, we want to be creating as much external stability as we possibly can and not having to rely on internal stability in the erectors, hip musculature, and the core. So oftentimes you'll see people performing this exercise and taking quite a big degree of extension at the top. Don't come up like this. Just stay nice and tight, bracing hard into the pad and squeeze up. So if your gym doesn't have this particular chest supported T-bar row, or any T-bar row for that matter, you can take these principles and apply them to not only a chest supported rowing movement, but really any back movement. Or if you want to try this one out, visit us at Body Factory, because it is never a bad time to come to Bali.